Suzanne Jovin was a 21-year-old senior at Yale University, known for her intelligence, kindness, and drive. On the night of December 4, 1998, Suzanne spent her evening attending a pizza-making party organized by the tutoring group. She left the party around 8:30 p.m., returning a borrowed car and then heading toward her off-campus apartment. Less than 2 hours later, she would be found dying on a quiet street, the victim of a brutal and still unexplained murder. Around 9:25 p.m., a passerby in the East Rock neighborhood of New Haven spotted Suzanne lying on the ground near the corner of Edge Hill Road and East Rock Road. She had been stabbed 17 times in the head, neck, and back with a sharp knife. Her throat had also been slashed. She was still alive when paramedics arrived, but died a short time later at the hospital. The attack was so violent that it shocked even veteran investigators. There was no sign of robbery or sexual assault. Her wallet and watch were untouched, and nothing from her bag appeared to be missing. The location where she was found was about 1.5 miles from where she had last been seen. How she got there remained one of the case's central questions. At first, police focused on James Van de Velde, Suzanne's senior thesis advisor and a lecturer at Yale. He had met with her that afternoon to discuss her paper. Although he had no known history of violence and no concrete evidence linked him to the crime, his position as a person of authority, and the fact that he was one of the last people to see her alive, made him a target of suspicion. Van de Velde was publicly named as a suspect, a move that devastated his career and reputation. He denied any involvement and cooperated fully with investigators, even giving DNA samples. Over time, scrutiny of him faded as no evidence ever tied him to the murder. Despite this, the cloud of suspicion followed him for years. As the investigation expanded, police received a tip that Suzanne had been seen talking to someone in a tan or brown car shortly before her death. Other witnesses reported seeing a similar vehicle speeding away from the area around the time of the murder. Authorities believed the killer may have picked her up willingly, possibly offering her a ride. One theory was that Suzanne had planned to return books to a friend that night, and may have intended to borrow or use a car. Her last known words, written in an email about returning the books, were vague about how she planned to get to her friend's place. That message was sent shortly after 9 p.m. and offers one of the few time markers before her death. Despite extensive efforts, including DNA testing, interviews with more than 100 people, and consultation with behavioral experts, the case went cold. A key frustration was the lack of forensic evidence. The weapon was never found. No fingerprints or hair samples pointed to a suspect. A partial palm print on a Fresca bottle in her bag did not match anyone known. Over the years, investigators explored a variety of theories, including a random attack, a personal vendetta, or an encounter with a stranger, pretending to be someone she trusted. Each possibility only deepened the mystery. James Van de Velde later sued Yale and New Haven officials for defamation, claiming his life had been unjustly damaged. Though he was never formally charged, his name remains forever linked to a case he insists he had nothing to do with. The case has been revisited multiple times, including a renewed look in 2008 and appeals from the Jovin family for the FBI to become involved. The murder of Suzanne Jovin remains one of the most baffling unsolved crimes in Ivy League history. Her story is a reminder that even in the safest places and most elite institutions, violence can strike and answers may remain out of reach. Over 2 decades later, her killer remains unknown, and her life remains frozen in time, filled with promise that was never fulfilled.